Hello everyone. Excuse me. Let's see, we're going to go to, we're going to learn about the percent proportion, which is 6.2 in the 7th grade book. Okay, so the percent proportion is just what it says. We just came off the chapter on ratios and proportions. So this is showing you how a part, a whole, and the percent over 100 form a proportion. Okay, so as you can see over here at the bottom, you have the part on top to the whole on bottom is equal to 100 is the whole of the percent, and then the part goes up here with the part on top. So you have part over whole equals the percent over 100. So let's write that a little bit. So they use this A. Okay, the reason they use A is because part and percent begin with the same letter. So just A over W equals P over 100. But we're going to show you a little trick here today as well. And that is over of equals the percent. So whatever has a percent sign after it. And then 100 over 100. And this always goes here. Okay, so anytime you're setting this up, I always put line equals line over 100, and then you plug in things. And then we'll see what that means here in just a second. So you're going to see that it will say is or of right near the number that you need to place on top and bottom on your on the left. And the percent sign is really easy to see because it'll have this symbol on it, okay? So this is kind of the, I wouldn't call it cheating, but it is the easy way to do it. But just always remember that what we're actually finding is the part over the whole is equal to the percent over 100. Okay, so let's go see what that means. This will make more sense as we work some out here. So what percent of 15 is 12? Are you starting to see the numbers? Pause the video and see if you can set up the proportion. Okay, so hopefully you went ahead and paused it and see if you could set up that proportion. Okay, so I always put my lines here, so I'm going to have some proportion is equal to another proportion with 100 always on the bottom. Okay, so what percent of 15? So where do we think of 15 goes? Of on the bottom, right? So of 15 is, where does is go? Is goes on the top because here's is up here. Is goes on the top. Is 12. And it says what percent? So the question mark is for the percent, which goes here, right? Okay, now we can cross multiply just like we would for a proportion. Or if it's super easy, to figure out 15 times what is 100, we can do it that way. All of the normal ways of solving a proportion work on this. So let's do this. So 12 times 100 is 1200. Oh, get my pen back. 1200 equals 15 times x is 15x. Divide both sides by 15. And we get x is equal to, and I'm just going to get my calculator, 1200 divided by 15 is 80. So does that make sense? Is 12 80% of 15? That sounds about right. So I think that is correct. So the answer would be 80, actually 80%. Okay. Now we're going to find a part. So what number is 0.5% of 200? Okay, so let's do a different color so we don't get confused here. Okay, so we have this proportion over 100 always stays there. Now, let's see. Okay, so if you look right here is my percent sign, okay? So that tells me it's going to go in the percent part of my proportion, which was right here. Okay, so 0.5. 0.5%. Okay, we're not moving a decimal. It's not 0.5 and now we need to move the decimal. It is actually saying 0.5 over 100. So 0.5%, little sidebar, 0.5% is 0.5 divided by 100. So if I wanted this as a decimal, which I don't here, I would still need to move it 2 places like we did last section. So 0.5% as a decimal is 1, 2, zeros go in the hoopy thingies, 0.005. Okay, that's just a little sidebar for those of you who got a little confused about why is there a decimal in my percentage. Okay, so that is totally fine. 0.5 goes up there. Okay, now we have to figure out where does 200 go and where does my x go. So 200, it says, let's see, where's my little laser? Of 200. Okay, so there's our little, and what number is 5% of 0.5% of 200? So that would lead you to believe that this is a small part, that this number is a small part of 200, right? So make sure you're still thinking about how this works. So 200 is my whole or my of. And now we go x up here. So we have x times 100 is 100x on this side. 200 times 0.5 is 100. Okay, so divide both sides by 100. Okay, and hopefully we don't need a calculator. 100 divided by 100 or anything over itself is 1. Now, does that make sense? Ask yourself, does that make sense? So what is 1% of 200? Sorry, I got a phone call. 1%, I need to put it on Do Not Disturb. Where's that button? There we go. All right, so what is, or I forget where I was at. Oh, 1% of 200, right, would be 2. So half of a percent of 200 would be 1. So hopefully that makes some logical sense to you. Okay, so let's do this again. We'll use our last color. We'll use red. So we're going to set up the proportion equal to another proportion over 100. Remember that always goes there. Okay, there's my little percent sign. So 150 goes on top. Can my part on my percent be greater than the part? Can this part be greater than my whole, right? Because remember, the ratio is part to whole. So can this happen? And the answer is yes, if it is over 100%, right? 100% over 100 is 1, right? And that is 100%. 100% is 1.0 if we were multiplying it. If we were taking, we should have learned that in the last part. 100% is moving the decimal 2 places. 1.0, sorry, 1.0, right? So 100 over 100 is 1, okay? So anything greater than a whole or anything greater than 100%, this number up here will be bigger. So 350%, 350 would go on top, and so on and so forth, okay? So now where are we at here? Let's go back to my red, fix my 0, and okay. Of what? So that gives me the clue of is my question mark. And just to double check, well, here's is 30. So is goes here, is over of. And now we're going to cross multiply. 30 times 100 is 3,000 equals 150x divided by 150 on both sides, which leaves me with no room. So I apologize. But x equals, I'll try not to cram it in next time, 3,000 divided by 150 equals 20. So 30, so let's check to make sure it makes sense. So 30 should be greater than my number x. X is 20, right? So that makes total sense because 50%, if you add 50% to 20, that would be 10 more. Does that make sense? So 50% of 20, half of 20, would be 10. If we added 50% more, to the 100%, then that is exactly what we should have expected. We almost could have done that one in our head once we start to really understand percents and how they work. So this one here, the whole is 20. The part in this case is 30 because it is greater than 100. All right, guys, hope you're doing well. Post more videos as I get a chance. Take care.